Anyway, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is Wicked New England. I'm Anthony. This is
Andrew.
And I'm John.
And today we are actually going to be talking about some of the vehicles used in horror, monster movies, and television shows. And it's mainly the aspect of just keeping it real with what we do. So, as far as the vehicles go, and we're keeping it real to like movies and television, like I said, there's a long history, especially with vehicles. And everybody has their favorite vehicle. You can talk about cars in films.
I believe
for
we
years.
each picked three, right?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
Roughly.
Ish.
Or at least we tried to.
3-ish. How can you really only pick three?
I did.
There are a lot, so it was kind of difficult. I actually just randomly picked 3 vehicles, and I'm going to try to run with them. Unfortunately, I did find a little bit more information than what I think we were expecting to find, especially where there's linkage and lineage, so to speak, to some of the vehicles of my choosing. So my first choice is from the 1977 film, The Car. It was released in May 13th, 1977 by Universal Pictures. It's a supernatural horror film that features the car. It's a driverless vehicle that preys pretty terrorizing an entire small town. I believe in Arizona.
Something
I
like
think.
Fuck them.
Anyway, we're going to skip through most of the Hollywood genre, and we're going to go right to the vehicle itself. The vehicle in question is a highly customized 1971 Lincoln Continental Mark III, designed by famed Hollywood car customizer George Barris. The car's bodywork was painted in steel and pearl and charcoal coloring, with windows laminated in 2 different colors. Smoke on the inside and amber on the outside. This would give the driver the view the ability to view out of the vehicle, and no one can be able to see them on the inside of the vehicle. It was also very kind of, if you actually see the movie, you would actually understand it's kind of very skittish not being able to see who the hell is behind the vehicle, which we can actually kind of see sometimes here in the state of Massachusetts with the Massachusetts State Police law enforcement. You don't know if anybody is inside that vehicle, and unfortunately we are a bit pricks here in the state of Massachusetts where
Sometimes out, man.
sometimes that car is just sitting there just because they know you're going to hit the freaking brakes on the highway. It's a fact.
It's going off the rails.
Anyway, but no, the car is... Everything gave this car a more hideous look. It was more aerodynamic in ways that was strange, unique, very customed. They extended the fenders 4 inches. They extended the body width by 4 inches. And it gave the car a very demonic look, not to mention a very strange aspect if you watched it. And it had, I'm not trying to give any spoilers away, but it had a sense of horror if you see the movie, because by the end of the film, when you think the film's over, the car is viewed driving down the streets of Hollywood.
Actually, fun fact about that car, too, the Lincoln Continental, that particular model, was actually featured in another, I wouldn't call it a horror movie, but if you've ever seen Faces of Death, somebody actually attempted to jump a gorge in one, and let's just say they didn't make it.
Very heavy car, ladies and gentlemen.
That's what happens when you try to take a boat and jump it over a cliff.
Yeah.
All right, so my first car was Christine, because how could it not be, right?
Wasn't expecting that one. No, I actually saw the list, so
No, it's an easy one, but
Very
it's
easy.
one of my favorite horror movies, so 1956 Plymouth Fury. Awesome in the blood red. You know what I mean? Actually, that car was only available in a tan metallic color, buckskin beige, sorry, with gold anodized aluminum trim. But obviously they made it red for the movie. But awesome thing, written by Stephen King, follows the Plymouth Fury that wreaks havoc on the life of its owner and those around him. They destroyed a total of 24 Plymouth Furies in the making of that movie, which is ultimately very sad.
Wow.
Only 2 of them were actually ever running, though. They only made 2 hero cars. One for stunts and one for the character to just cruise around in. The other 22, they had bad days. I don't know if you've seen that movie. I assume you have. Most people have. But the car is basically destroyed multiple times throughout the movie and reassembles itself. It's... can't even say it's like demonic, if you will. It's just the car's alive. We'll say that the car is alive.
It's definitely living.
Puts itself back together, and the 2 that survived, or that were hero cars, if you will, were coded Muscle 2. The stunt car was supposed to be crushed after the movie debuted, but was saved by the current owner, Martin Sanchez, and he used parts from other Christines to restore the car back to its original condition. So, fun fact. Very cool car, though. I will be putting a picture here. So you'll be able to see that, but it's blood red. It's got the fins. It's two-tone with the white hardtop. Very cool car. Very cool car.
So I guess that leads to my first pick, probably the scariest pick on this list, the Mystery Machine.
Hell yeah.
No, so fun fact. So if you,
It's terror time again.
I love Scooby Doo.
How could you not? Come on.
Nah, how could you not?
Now, Zombie Island or Witch Island? Which one's better?
Okay, my go-to is actually like the Alien one.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay. No, Zombie Island and Witch Island are mine, but I mean, you know.
I my go-to was the Alien one because, fun fact, I had this reoccurring dream when I was a kid about aliens hunting me down and like grabbing me. It was terrible. But anywho,
And the Simple Plan cover of What's New Scooby Doo, definitely check that out.
fun fact, if you happen to drive around Rhode Island, there's someone with a mystery machine. that is
They
in Rhode Island.
actually go to several of the paranormal conventions.
Pretty cool.
Yeah,
You know.
so you can actually see that car out and about.
But yeah, it's a van. These meddling kids take around with a talking dog, and
I would have got away with it too if it wasn't for you kids.
it's a fun thing. I want a mystery machine someday. That would be awesome. Imagine if we were going to jobs in a mystery machine.
See, I wouldn't have a mystery machine. I would have like that old school '80s like van with like the mural on the side with like the dragons and like the unicorn and stuff like that, and then like the whole inside is done up in like Sherpa and like you know.
That fits your vibe very well.
Yeah.
Like that's not.
And it's a 1980s thing.
And a good thing.
And I'm sorry, I watched the
I think it's cool.
cartoons. I was a fan of the cartoons when I was a
No,
kid.
but the mystery machine is awesome. Just
I love it.
if you were in that hair metal era, you would love the van.
Yeah.
You gotta have the
The
van.
van.
You need to have the van. And we'd be on tour because we'd be going to haunted sites like across the country. Think about
Easily.
Absolute cinema.
Easily.
that. So, 20th Century Fox, Warner Brothers, Disney, etc. If you'd like a paranormal research show, Wicked New England is up
We're
for the
your
task.
guys. We will hunt ghosts and make quips.
And hunt ghosts.
Anyway.
You guys are covered.
Moving on, Anthony, why don't you hit us with
Moving
the next
on.
one?
My next one is actually going to be tackling a TV show that ran from 1964 to 1966, and that is The Munsters. Anybody ever like hot rods?
Oh, yeah.
Anybody
Absolutely.
that likes drag races? Well, this show actually had one of each.
Automatically know where you're going.
We had Dragula, and not to
Anybody
be
like Rob Zombie?
not to be confused with the Rob Zombie song. Interesting little tidbit: Rob Zombie wrote this song based off that car.
Yes, he did.
So I mean, the car was
Rob Zombie also
basically-
from Andover, Mass. Fun fact.
Gotta love Massachusetts, guys. Gotta love it.
It's pretty wicked in New England.
Anyway, again, this one actually is interesting because in my choices, I actually picked another vehicle, being the Dragula car, also from the custom shop from George Barris. So this one has a quite interesting story. The project engineer, Richard Corky Corks, of Barris Custom Industries, made a deal with a funeral director to pay in cash and leave the coffin outside the rear door to be collected after dark. This was done because at the time it was illegal to sell a coffin without the death certificate, which is quite unusual because they did actually use a real coffin to build the body for this drag racer. The vehicle also had, I'm sorry, I lost my place in this. The car had a 350 horsepower, 289 cubic inch Ford Mustang V8 engine with a 4-speed stick shift, 2 4-barrel carburetors mounted on an
Edelbach Ram Plus manifold.
Thank you for reading that for me.
Sorry.
Welcome to Wicked New England, folks.
I get excited about cars, so we start to...
And my eyesight really isn't as good as it used to be. So, I mean, yeah, George Barris installed 4 Zumi-style organ pipes on each side of the car as the exhaust pipes, and antique lamps for the front and rear of the car. On the front was also a marble gravestone, supposedly Grandpa Munster's license plate from the old country that simply inscribed born 1397, died, ? Which is interesting because for a car that is a dragster, you would actually put a piece of marble on the front for your license plate. And it's quite genius in the same sense because as a drag racer, all the power is locked into the rear. So you'd want some weight on the front to keep you down. And it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
But this is also tied into, however, the Munster's coach, which I am going to talk about in my next little session.
And
but
fun fact about that car also, folks, just mentioned Rob Zombie, you can actually see it in the music video for Dragula. They actually got a hold of the actual car to feature in the music video.
It was also part of the Munster movie of Munsters Go Home. But it was part of the TV show in the sense where in one episode, or I believe in possibly both episodes, it was one episode where Herman Munster lost the Munster coach in a drag race. He souped it up, and also a hot rod in itself. And I actually like the Munster coach in itself, even though it's like 18 feet in length and more like a freaking truck than anything else. But it's more of a hot rod, and it's cool as shit. But Grandpa Munster had to do something to try to get it back because Herman lost it in a pink slip race. So Grandpa Munster used apparently his casket.
That's what happens when you give Frankenstein the keys.
But Grandpa Munster used the casket, won the car back, and everything was hunky-dory.
Moving on from that. Awesome. Love the Munsters, by the way. Also, Rob Zombie did a remake of the Munsters on Netflix.
Yes, he did.
It's Netflix original.
Yes, he
so
did.
Maybe check that out too if you're a fan of the series or if you've never seen it before. There's a more modern take on it, but still very good. Also, moving on from that, so probably my favorite car, at least in the moment. I go back and forth on this, but 1967 Impala Sport Coupe. It's actually a 4-door, which most of the muscle cars people look at tend to be 2 doors, but specifically it is Baby from Supernatural. One of my favorite shows. Gotta love Supernatural. If you love the stuff that is on this channel, ghost hunting and so forth like that. Plenty of it. They have episodes on everything from Wendigos and spirits and demons to frickin' God. So I mean, like, God is a villain. Can you imagine it, folks? But everything's on there. But just to go over it again, and of course I'm going to feature it here. Actually, I'm going to just cover us all and put the car like huge. Okay.
He has the power to do that, folks.
Yep.
He is the editor.
Now we're back. Okay. Now the car is off the screen, or it's a little smaller. But so yeah, came with a 250 cubic inch turbo Thrift 6 or a 283 cubic inch turbo Fire V8. It did have the V8 in baby, folks. Car had a 3-speed automatic gearbox. Top speed of 130 miles per hour, which doesn't sound like fast. But you know what? It could outrun the devil. So I'm with it. So car was all black. Okay. Amazing. Actually, folks, if you ever watch Supernatural, they actually have a whole episode dedicated through the eyes of the car, which is just freaking awesome to watch. Okay, I would definitely recommend you check that out. That's actually the end of season 5, which is Swan Song, last episode of the season. Check that out. But car was used basically as everything from a home and a refugee to the Winchester brothers. You know, they lived in it on the road when they weren't stopping at hotels and so forth. But yeah, awesome car. Basically, in my eyes, just as important as fighting the devil as any weapon or spell or anything for the sake of their lore and their story. But awesome looking car. I mean, it's one of the only 4-doors I think I would ever like really want to own. It's badass as a 4-door. So, anyway, John's getting a little tired here.
Sorry.
Yawning. He's like, God, this is boring. Please stop. But no,
wait,
Baby is a
you
seriously badass car. And if we ever get picked up and get our own show, I can tell you, like, if I could buy any personal possession, money-wise, I would probably buy a replica of that car.
I'd probably reanimate Lutash.
Lutash!
Alright, moving on to my next pick. Echo 1 from the Ghostbusters.
Hell yeah!
Kind of fits our whole theme,
Hell yeah.
you know? I know I want the Mystery Machine, but
Also,
it makes
exists
sense.
locally in New England.
That is true. That is true. So that car actually, the base of it
Here.
was a 1959 Cadillac Miller Meteor Sentinel ambulance. Pretty cool. If you haven't seen Ghostbusters, you're doing yourself a disservice. Okay. Awesome movie. I like the original best, like the first one.
See, I'm so torn on 1 and 2. I like them both so much. And, you know, they're both from, like, you know, the same couple years back to back. So it's like, it's hard for me to pick a favorite. And every time I watch them, I always watch both in one sitting.
Yeah, I do
That's
so.
fair. That's
You know?
fair, you know?
It's easy to disassociate yourself from some of the later ones, maybe. But
I think
I haven't actually seen Answer the Call yet. So
I haven't seen
Neither
any
have
of the
I.
newer
or
ones.
Frozen Empire. I haven't seen that
I
either.
haven't seen any of the
I
newer
bought
ones.
But so Answer the Call I have, but I have not seen that one. I did see the one with Melissa
Afterlife?
McCarthy and
Oh.
I heard good things about it.
that one I haven't seen. Or I have seen, rather. Yeah, with
heard-
the women instead of the men, whatever. And it was funny. You know, it was its own thing. I mean, doesn't burn a candle to 1 and 2. I mean, so anybody who says otherwise is probably kidding themselves. But
But a lot of remakes don't.
I don't.
You know?
But the important part is I don't think they were trying to steal from it, and I don't think they were trying to surpass the original.
I think they were trying to
They
do
were
their
doing
own
their own
thing.
I think it was made from people who love the series, who honestly just wanted to make another story in the world,
Which I think is pretty
and
cool.
that's okay.
You know?
I'm okay with that.
I like expanding universes as long as it doesn't diminish what happened in the past.
Yeah.
Don't get me started on the newer Star Wars movies. That could be a podcast on its own.
We've had the conversation multiple times.
Multiple. We
We could do it
On
on
that
film
note-
if you'd like it. If you want to see that,
Yeah, if you guys want
drop
to
a
see
comment below and we'll make it
Well-
happen. There might be some discord in the group though during that
Slightly,
conversation because
maybe
we don't all
we'll-
agree on the same rankings. We'll say of the Star Wars movies.
I'll be jumping onto Andrew's back, getting the rear naked choke. You know,
That's
Revenge of
right.
the Sith. You know. Anywho, Anthony.
I'll swirl around and put it in a Kimura lock. We're good.
We'll see about that.
Instead of talking about the cars on this one, I do have a third vehicle in mind, but I wanted to talk about George Barris. I touched base on him on 2 vehicles that I picked at random, not realizing that he built the first two vehicles of my choice. George Barris was born in 1925, and unfortunately he passed away in 2015.
Long life.
Yeah, he did.
Realistically, I mean that's pretty good amount.
Realistically, he did have a very long life. He is responsible for not only the dual car. I'm sorry, the the car. But he also was responsible for the Munster coach. He was also responsible for the Munster, the Dragula. He was also responsible for the 1928 Porter, which is essentially a 1928 Oldsmobile touring car turned into a truck. That was the Beverly Hills Billies movie and TV show. So he's created a lot of different things. He also customized a Rolls Royce for Zsa Zsa Gabor, a Cadillac limo for Elvis Presley, a Pontiac sedan wagon for John Wayne, and a Cadillac Eldorado station wagon for Dean Martin, and a pair of his and her 1966 Ford Mustang convertibles for Sonny and Cher. He did a lot of customizations.
They didn't last.
He did a lot of customizations. He did a lot of fun things for TV and film as well, obviously. But he also did golf carts. And he did golf carts for a lot of fun-filled celebrities, such as Bob Hope, Bing Crosby, Anne Margaret, Glenn Campbell, and Elton John.
Nice.
I would love
Now, in 1990s, NASA had contacted him regarding a 1966 Moonscape vehicle design that is more popular for model kits, which I told you guys I like building models, so this kind of like, I found this information and I'm like, oh, this is kind of more interesting than anything
I have a
else.
model of baby that needs to be built.
But NASA engineers wanted to design the Martian rovers based off of his 6-wheel Spider design suspension. Wow. So they reached out to him. He gave them the all clear to use it, and they reached out to him. They met up with him, and they got all the information they needed to create the rover, send it out into space, and do its thing.
What a cool resume right there.
So I mean, yeah, and this is all information that I ain't gonna lie. I got most of all the information I got from Wikipedia. Seems to be a very good tool in the aspects of what we do.
It's a good tool.
But he also built non-replica designs, or his customs facility built non-replica designs. Excuse me, not of his design, such as the Monkey Mobile from the TV show The Monkees, Starsky and Hutch's Ford's Torino, and Knight Rider's kit. But he also designed and built the Wagon Queen family truckster from 1983's National Lampoon's
You
Vacation.
remember that ugly olive green thing with the wood trim? That's the one.
And he designed and built it. So
I'll just put a picture of that here because I feel like that just needs to be shown. God help you if you ever bought one.
listen,
I had two.
it's a custom design. You don't have to worry about actually building one or having one. But yeah, we're gonna look for the photo of that. Probably, maybe a little right from, I don't know, maybe, yeah, right there.
It's there.
Anyway,
By the power of editing, I make it be. So, my next one, I actually picked with somebody in mind. But one of our followers out there, her name is Sarah Mann. Not to use people's names on the internet, but she comments on a lot of our videos, and she takes time to watch them. So the next vehicle that I selected was a semi-truck. So she actually spent years as a on-the-road truck driver. There's another reason why I picked this one. But the Green Goblin truck from Maximum Overdrive, which I put a picture there. Hey, cool. All right, so it's in there. You can see what we're seeing. So, I was always more of a Peterbilt person. She actually drove a Freightliner, but this was a white Western Star 4800 with a large grinning green goblin mask adorning the front, as you can see. The eyes of the mask sometimes glow, and on the back of the trailer it was a black trailer that said "Happy Toys." Okay, it's kind of like the instigating vehicle, if you will, in the Maximum Overdrive movie. So if you've seen that movie before, Emilio Estevez, they're stuck in the truck stop, and the trucks keep circling around after the machines come to life. Actually, fun fact about that movie, you actually see AC/DC have a death scene where they die when a drawbridge goes up and the van comes down. Gravity works. All right. The rear of the trailer features a creepy image of the clown as well, and there's a hidden green goblin jack-in-the-box toy behind the curtains of the back of the cab. Truck is powered by a Detroit diesel 8V71, which gave it its iconic growl. So, really cool. If you know anything about semis, you know the Western Stars are actually pretty expensive. Peterbilts are probably right up there, just underneath Volvo, probably being the highest, and then you have Freightliner below that. But there's also different models as well. I, for one, when it comes to semi-trucks, have always loved the long nose. So the longer old-school Peterbilts and Freightliner XLs that they used to have. They don't really have those today, folks. Nowadays, most of the semi-trucks are short-nosed vehicles, if you will. You can't even get most semis in a stick anymore. Most of them come automatic. It's crazy. You know what I mean? But they still have nice cabs and so forth. One time in my life, I actually considered being an on-the-road truck driver. But so I love semi-trucks, either way. But very cool, and very cool movie. If you guys never seen it, it's kind of creative and fun. Very cheesy and campy, but just like creative ways in which people die. One of my favorites is actually a Little League coach. The vending machine comes to life and starts shooting out Pepsi cans. And he gets nailed in the nuts, drops to his knees, and catches a can in the face. And just takes him out. So, I mean, it's goofy. It's not meant to be taken seriously. Not that type of horror movie, but great watch either way. And very cool truck.
So my next one, not quite a car, not even from a monster movie. The motorcycle from Ghost Rider. I just
it counts.
Cool.
It counts. So, fun fact, folks, the original vehicle, because John was trying to figure out vehicles too, one of the ones I suggested to him was the Ford Pinto they used in Cujo. But I actually think that the Ghost Rider bike is a much better pick.
Especially with all the picks that we've had.
And right here.
I remember, so the biggest thing that I love is the skull with the chains coming down.
Oh yeah,
down
for sure.
I thought that was awesome. But I'll never forget watching that movie as a kid, the Nick Cage Ghost Rider, and thinking, I kind of want a bike, and then I never got a bike.
I got 3.
Lucky bastard.
You got a Ghost Rider one?
I do not. So I had 3 Harleys while we're on it, because it's vehicles, it counts, right?
It counts.
So I had a 2013 Iron 883, which was in a rust orange color with all blacked out motor and blacked out exhaust, which was amazing. That was my first bike. Then I moved to a 2015 Harley Switchback, which was all blacked out with black hard saddlebags and the removable windshield. And then after that, I moved on to my V-Rod, which was amazing, which if you've ever driven a V-Rod, that's like the best of both worlds when it comes to a Harley. So it's liquid cooled, but it's got that Harley style, but it's got new aged horsepower. It's amazing. It's very cool.
Ghost Rider.
If they made a new Ghost Rider movie, I bet you they'd use a V-Rod for the platform.
I think that they should bring back Ghost Rider, like the Nick Cage Ghost Rider, when they inevitably do tons of cameos for Secret Wars. That's what I think they should have in the movies.
Fair enough. I would love to see another Ghost Rider movie, but more importantly, I would love to see Nick Cage revitalize that role. If they gave it to anybody else, I feel like it's kind of a... I'm not saying nobody else could do it. I love his character in it so much.
It's a slippery slope.
I want to see him.
Well,
But
I think
I almost feel like if they put Nicolas Cage in that movie, he'd have so much star power he'd steal from the other people. in
yeah,
it.
I also think that since they probably plan on having Ghost Rider and the Midnight Suns whenever they start that project, I don't think people will take it as seriously if they have the Nick Cage Ghost Rider as the main
And
one.
as we're talking about Ghost Rider, it actually just brings it to my attention, folks. I kind of feel like I should throw this out there. So, one of the things featured in one of the Ghost Rider movies was actually one of the songs from The Highwaymen. Chris Christopherson, rest in peace. 3 out of the 4 surviving members of The Highwaymen are now deceased. The only one left being... Can't remember names right now. But anyway, 3 out of 4, unfortunately, are no longer with us. There is one left. So,
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's a sad to see famous icons disappear. My last choice, ladies and gentlemen, is 1971 from the movie Duel. My choice was the 1955 Peterbilt 281. Long hood with Peterbilt, split windshields, round headlights, gave it more of a face, and it had about 260 horsepower to pull about 30 tons worth of shit. Had a lot of power. Basically, the film and the truck was the antagonist in the film to basically kind of take people off the road. Film starts off with a salesman traveling in, I believe, I can't remember the vehicle that he was driving, but he was driving a car, and he managed to piss off this long haul trucker, and things escalated. And it basically became a chase scene where you know there was a driver to the truck, but you never saw the truck driver. The truck had more of a face with the split windshields, the round headlights, and a custom railroad track kind of welded front bumper with multiple license plates. The multiple license plates were kind of more or less instigated to hint that this might be a serial killer in a sense. So maybe the serial killer was keeping license plates as his reward and putting them on the front bumper of his truck.
everyone needs a trophy.
But anyway, I'm going to pretty much wrap this up. You kind of took my head off with the last part. I mean, I don't know what to say after trying to give sovereigns to somebody.
Before we end off,
The last surviving member, sorry, before I cut John off, I will forget because I'm that thick. But, Willie Nelson is the last remaining living member of the Highwaymen. So.
And I was trying to remember the
Before
name
we
after
end
you
off,
said it.
We've been doing a lot of nice PSAs like, hey, don't take drugs or don't abuse drugs. So the one for today, don't get into road rage accidents. It's not worth it. It's better to just get home safely. And that's that. That's the PSA for this episode. Wicked New England cares. Oh, actually, another Wicked New England cares moment. We went on a...
You're a little late, John. This is like a month later.
yeah, we're a little
Anyway,
late,
so Wicked New England went out, and we
went to an
supported
Alzheimer's
ALS.
walk to end Alzheimer's. It was actually really nice. You have the picture if you want to put it
Yeah,
in.
put that in.
I decorated a flower.
I did too.
We all did.
So
I have pictures. I have proof. And I will put them here. Okay. So on that, folks, it's been a great episode. Anthony, you want to close us out? This is your deal?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Wicked New England. I'm Anthony.
Andrew?
bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Later.
Hey.
Anyway.
Hi, guys. We're here with Wicked New England.
Shut up.
How we all doing tonight? We're here at this nice little fireside chat.
You know I haven't started yet, right?
I have.
I didn't hear the beep, and we're already
Actually,
on a
he's
yellow.
the host.
Oh, that is true.
We're
No,
on
that's okay.
we're on the yellow
We're
battery.
more worried about the temperature.
I'm
The
worried
yellow
about the
battery,
battery.
that's 3 hours left.
Okay.
45 minutes is left. Okay. So, scene, blah, blah, blah. You said you wanted to run this one, so if you want to take us in.
All right.
Folks, welcome.
Oh.
Yeah, we are recording,
I'm
right?
cutting.
You're
Don't
not
worry,
cutting
don't worry.
this shit. I know you're gonna leave it in.
No.
You're a dick
no.
like that.
I might put it back in after, like kind of like a blooper, but like, yeah.
Any